Alright, defending against Havoc is very difficult, even if you're sighted, from what people have said, right? Because you can't fuzzy, you can't really, you know. Anyway, point is, we'll show off the gaps, we'll show off punishable stuff first, as usual. So, we have two Havocs on screen. We have me Havoc and the AI Havoc. So we're just going to show the gaps real quick. I'll describe which gaps they are afterward. So, as we heard, we have gaps off his main mid string. The back 2-2 has a gap. The forward 1-2-2 has a gap. The 2-2 has a gap. That's really it. The only time you'll start to get more gaps is if Havoc starts to do specials on block. So if we take, for example, forward 1-2 by itself, did it have a gap, right? No gap. But if we add forward 1 into the projectile, it makes a gap artificially, right? If we do forward 1 into the low combo starter, that's also punishable, so that's not a big deal. But if we do 1-1 into the fireball, gap. So basically, if Havoc decides to try and do anything that's not his torso spin on block, he'll make it into a gap. So the only other thing is you have a back to 2 into the torso spin. That's not real. 2-2 into torso spin. See if I can space it. That's real. That's not a that you can't get out of that string. Stand 2 is not real. Forward 4 into it, not real. Forward 1-2 into it, not real. Forward 1, not real. The only strings the only string that's really real, really, is 1-1. 1-1 into Havoc's torso spin is a true gapless thing. You cannot armor it. You cannot do anything about it. But if the Havoc isn't playing fair or anyone who can keep himself safe, then it's a full combo punish for you. So trade-offs, right? Mix-ups. So now we will set Havoc to do a punishable string. So let's have him do this. And so now he should do it so that when I do something punishable, he'll do a reversal, right? So if I do something on block and he's able to do that 1-1 into torso spin, that's a true punish. So I'm going to do specials and demonstrate other stuff and discuss after. So, his torso spin, it's a high, I think it's a high mid actually. His low launcher, also punishable. His roll is punishable. If he tries to do projectiles on block, punishable. I'm trying to think. If you block the projectile, it is safe. If you interrupt the projectile before it actually comes out, it's punishable. So you have to hit him before the projectile comes out. So I'm trying to do it again so you can hear it. Okay, hopefully get a better idea of how to defend yourself. Main thing you want to do against Havoc is just hope you guess right, and if you don't want to worry about guessing, use armor, use your invincible reversals, because the man has gaps on all his mix-ups. His mix-ups are not, you don't have to hold any of the mix. The mix is able to be armored out of. You just have to guess right on the timings and stuff. But aside from that, the other thing that Havoc likes to do is if he thinks you're going to armor him or trying to interrupt him, he will just go to his down back 1. This thing is armor. It is 1 hit of armor by itself. If Havoc spends bar on it, it is 3 hits of armor that you have to hit him 3 times before it'll break. If you hit him a 4th time, then it'll break the armor and you can actually do something. This can be parried by certain characters who have parries. The easiest way to get around it, actually, I don't know the actual start update on it, but I'll show you. Easiest way to get around it is this.
neoplasm. Left and right button.
Hold on, let me
Custom dummy.
default and fix
Move
this
left.
one.
Get up mode. Get up attack. Get up attack. Nomad. Disarmed and dangerous. Enhanced helping hand. Left and right button.
There we go. So I'm going to just sweep the other Havoc and then try and jump over. Okay, let me do it again. So the easiest way to deal with Havoc's wickups, and this is the same thing for Gears, funny enough,
Get up mode. Get up attack.
as long as you can
Enhanced seeking neoplasm.
jump
Cold stop.
over the
Enhanced cold stop.
opponent,
Bloodbath.
you
Never smash.
will get
Enhanced never
around
smash.
it.
Custom
So
dummy. Use this
that
mode.
was the enhanced. That was the arm rip, and then now this is the low. And of course, because it is a low, it's easier to avoid it because it hits down instead of up towards the the opponent. So maybe you might have a move where you can jump over the opponent. So let's see. In fact, let me try something. In fact, like yeah. So like depending on the angle of stuff, generally speaking, if you knock Havoc down, just jump over him, teleport to the side, do whatever you can to get behind him because his armor moves do not hit behind him or above him very well at all. Like they both hit like straight in front of him or a little bit down, generally speaking, because of the angles. So, and of course the downside is this: is that if Havoc reads you're going to armor, he might armor through with his knockback 1. You're taking like 15% damage, where he doesn't spend resource, so it's 15% that's guaranteed. You can't break it either because it's one hit. So the more hits he absorbs off his armor, the more damage he does. So if I can, I'm too lazy to demonstrate. But if he gets it up right, he can hit up to like 20% damage for one armor move, without a combo, like without comboing. So it is in your best interest to avoid the armor if you can, because you don't know which armor he's going to go for. If he goes for the helping hand armor, sure, it'll you could jump over it. But if he goes for the low armor and you guess wrong and it's the helping hand one, and you try and jump over, on reaction, like, oh, that's the low one, I'm gonna try and jump, like the helping hand will catch you and get you in a full combo. So it's just easier and more efficient to just jump over Havoc because his armor animations won't let him like side switch back around, like he won't autocorrect to the side, as far as I've been able to test. Maybe it does in like certain situations if you take too long to jump over, sure, but generally speaking, Havoc can't do much about people jumping over him at all, really. The only other option I can think of is maybe Havoc will wake up with a far roll and roll out of the way, but even then that's debatable because that doesn't exactly save him, because you can still dash after him and probably punish him depending on the character. So we covered the strings and gaps, we covered the wake-ups, the mix. So the mix is tricky because he has a high mid overhead that can turn into a high mid low. High mid overhead turns into a high mid low. High overhead. This is just high into overhead, right? Just high overhead. Boom, boom, high overhead. Or high low. Just off one a standing button. It's just a high low mix, right? This is like noob Cybot levels of mix, right? Noob has this too, where it's like stand 2-4 or whatever it is. But the point is, like, this man has mix, and it's just smarter and safer to just armor. Now, of course, he might start reading it that you're going to armor, and he'll try and block and whatever. But you gotta try and get him to stop just trying to bully you with his, 2 different armor moves and absurd amount of health. Like Havoc can afford to just throw crap out because he has, depending on what camo he uses, has either 1050 health or upwards of I think 1200 or 1150. Like he has like almost a combo's worth of like health more than some characters, depending on your combo damage, right? So generally speaking, that's Havoc in a nutshell, up close, and like a little bit further away. It gets trickier because you have things like the projectiles. The projectiles are a big thing, is a big section of Havoc's game plan, because the main thing Havocs want to do with this is throw these out there to get you to stop moving for a second, and so he can come in and like start bullying you, like, because he has plenty of time to come in after and just keep following. Like as long as he can get these projectiles on screen and he can start moving, he will probably start moving, or he'll start trying to bombard you with his zoning, which his zoning, while it can be a bit oppressive, it is not exceedingly dangerous. Unless the Havoc is exceedingly good with their reactions and they have someone like Movado, then they can be a bit more of a threat. Or if they have Janet, for example, maybe. because the whole thing is this, right? From back here, like if we go from full screen, right, let's see.
P1 position. Right. Left. 1. Full screen. Left.
Here we go. So if we go full screen here, like what am I gonna do back here as Havoc? Like the best I could do is probably that I can think of. And I'm sure other Havocs might be like, oh, you can do more. But the point is like these projectiles are exceedingly slow. Like listen to how long it takes. I'm gonna mute. I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute my mic. I'm gonna just do the enhanced and the regular versions of both these projectiles. You just listen to how slow some of these are. Now, in an isolated setting like this, it sounds like it's really absurd or whatever, but realistically speaking, the only main threat is the mid one, the mid projectile, because you can duck the high, you can try and jump over the mids as well. Like there's situations where you can jump over the mids, and of course the other thing too is again, if you jump over these and it hits you in a weird angle, the Havoc player may not be on point with their combo, so they might not even capitalize off damage off of it. So they might. It's better to try and avoid them and jump over them or try to flush spot them than it's to try and like just not do anything about it, because otherwise you can get smacked in the face, right? Or you take the chip damage. So the best I can recommend is try to jump over the mids. If they're doing projectile, if you can hear the startup, because the mid ones you have the longer startup because it has to orbit Havoc's body. The high one is just way quicker, way more straightforward. Shut up, phone. So the best I can recommend is just try and avoid the mids if you can. Just jump them. Try to flawless block. If you got teleports, you got Sub-Zero Ice Armor. Like, you realistically shouldn't be getting zoned out by Havoc, at least in theory. And of course, there are times where you will be because of health deficits, and maybe Havoc has a frame trap going. But the point is, generally speaking, he's not a zoner, right? He's not meant to be spamming projectiles all day. Like, he generally wants to get in your face, and he uses the projectiles to get in your face. And so it's like usually safe or plus on block. So that's the general gist of the projectiles. You can, if he does the projectiles on block, remember you can punish them with a full combo. The last thing I want to mention is the enhanced shenanigans, for lack of a better word, of his enhanced roll. Now, I legitimately don't know a way to deal with this. I don't know a way to deal with this. Best I can think of is just delay wake up and hope he doesn't catch you. Because you have this, that sets up this tether. Cool, good for him. But what makes it nasty is if he does the tether enhancement thing, and then he spends the bar. Now it makes Havoc's the controls all wacky and weird, but this is so difficult. This is weird. Oh, it's not okay. It makes the controls weird for like 8 seconds or whatever, but like it stops. Like, okay. Anyway, the point is so especially with Movado and Havoc is probably the stupidest team in the game, in my opinion. At least from what I've seen. Like, it's just absurd how nuts it can be. But this man essentially guarantees the OTG to hit, and as well as it also guarantees the next snap enhancement. So it just returns into a legitimate one-touch death situation. Like, it's just stupid. Havoc, one thing I completely forgot to mention, he does have a grab string, and back to 1+3. It's a true grab. It does add some damage, sure. There's a mix here because back to 4 is a low, so you have mid high grab or mid low hit, and you can just armor out of it, right? Oops. But the point is, yeah, you can armor out of it. It's not a big deal, but yeah. So hopefully this helps clear up Havoc a little bit. I know this probably wasn't the most like efficient guide, but he's honestly a tough character to describe how to fight against, just because he has so much overwhelming like strength. As far as he has mix, he has safety, he has the plus frames, he has the the stupidly high damage for very little effort. Like this man hits you like a dump truck for nothing, right? So it's like if I remember the B&B, what is it? It's this. Who do I have? Okay, remember the save hit. But the point is, like, that hits for like about 30 or something percent into Oki. And the thing is too, if you hear a Havoc hit you with this dive kick here, right? This dive kick is a pop up, so that's great, right? That's totally so fun. That is like almost 30% for a bar and a cameo from that far away. That is nuts. This is an overhead like launching kick, right? And he hits you from like round start position. Like this is just an overhead he can do, and he can incinerate it too. Like if he gets the timing down. Let's see, there we go. You can incinerate it. So this man can hit you with a low launcher or an overhead launcher from about round start position. The low has to be a bit closer, but this is silly. This is silliness. This character's silly. Make him do more or do less damage with scaling, man. He has so much going for him. I don't see why he needs more damage than everyone else, or a lot more damage than everyone else. Wait. This is chaotic. Anyway, my personal venting feelings aside, yeah. So let's see. We covered the mix. We covered the projectiles. We covered the. Oh, I was trying to get to the point. So if Havoc hits you with this just by itself, I'm gonna set. So I'm going to set.
Move list. Custom dummy. Use this mode to customize your opponent. Get up / reversal. Touchpad
Set as a jump as the get up, and then we are going to demonstrate how long it takes.
Get up attack. So on. Recording with navigation. Your opponent will.
There we go. Are we good now? Yes. So I'm just going to do that dive kick, and I want you guys to hear how long Havoc has to do whatever he wants. This man has almost enough time to do a full jump in and land before you are allowed to jump or block. You know what that leads to? You know this can do right here. This is like, okay. Into setup, into projectile setup. Like this is something, right? I don't know how many Havocs really go for that type of stuff, like the Oki into setup. I know a lot of them, or at least the one I fight consistently, he likes to go for like dash into like buttons. So, but hopefully you guys found this helpful. Hopefully this makes sense, helps clear up some of Havoc's shenanigans up. Like I said, generally just try to remember to armor out of the gaps if you can. If you guess right, then punish him every chance you get. Make sure it's a full combo, because you don't want this man to have a life lead, because he will lame you out if he can. He can blow you up easily for trying to armor out, like like especially like on block, right? So let me see if I can set this situation up, right? Let me see if I can set this.
Use breaker mode. Get up. Use this mode. Get up attack. Enhance. On. Reverse. Enhance neoplasm. Enhance corpse taunt. Enhance seeking neoplasm. Corpse taunt. Seeking neop. Enhance helping hand.
Right. So this is the thing, is like you kind of have to be on point as well, because what Havocs will try to do is they'll try to armor out with their helping hand, which it's a free armor move that does good damage, right? But you can still do the jump over and punish thing. The other thing that you can do, and you could try to do, is you can maybe armor through theirs. So let's see if I can get this. There you go. Right. So that just trades, but you see the point. Come on. There you go. It just trades, doesn't anything. But you can try to flawless block. Come on now. It's hard. Hard to do. Okay. There you go. You can actually punish it. But that one's a bit more of an advanced technique, but you can do it. Like I said, like parries can blow it up. You can jump over it, side switch. Ghostface, I'm sure Ghostface has options because his freaking teleport is legit a side switch. So like I'm sure Ghostface can just auto punish. I have to lab that setup. But yeah, man, this character's nuts to fight, especially if it's a blind player. Like we have a bit of a struggle here. But on the other side of it, Havoc can get zoned out by certain characters fairly easily. And some characters might outrange him. Some characters might be able to like stop his advance. So there are options. He's not unbeatable, but it's very hard to deal with. So hope you guys found this video helpful in any way. And if you did, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know how this series is going. If any of these videos have helped you guys to understand how to better fight or deal with these characters. I think my next one will be on another Diablo video. Either on builds and gearing or dungeons. We'll see. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Found this helpful. And we'll see you guys in the next video.